Welcome to Wednesday Night Undressed, podcast that reaches places other podcasts fear to tread. Let me gently introduce our panel for tonight's debate. The Magic Dr. Orlando, that legendary Tyler Durden.
JT, what's good?
Yes, what's up, what's up? No one would realise that I come from England.
Never.
Speaking like that. And hopefully the Dark Lord of Transylvanian Pheromones, Ivo Ivanov. Without further ado, the first question for our panel, and I do wonder sometimes how I come up with these ideas for podcasts and subjects. It is a mystery to me, but sometimes they just appear on my computery thing. Hot weather or cold, Conroy's is in the Midwest, where we record Wednesday Night Undressed. Doesn't seem to have proper weather. What the fuck's happened to the weather? I was told when I came here that we knew where we stood. January, February, March, fucking cold, lots of snow, don't want to go outside. And at the moment, it is 70 degrees as we record this at about, what time is it, 6 o'clock-ish, 1800 hours. What the fuck's going on?
So is your question, do you prefer hot or cold, or is your question, what the hell's going on?
Well, hot... We talk still about weather, or have we moved on?
No, we're still talking about weather.
Right, okay.
We're not talking about Saturday night.
Sometimes cold is nice on a Saturday night.
Okay, maybe it's Tuesday night.
About Saturday night. Okay, what I'm getting at is winter disappearing? Has it gone? Is this all about
here.
Yeah, you could argue that, here, being someone who's lived in Kansas all my life, yeah, you could argue it is disappearing at the moment, but that doesn't mean... clearly global warming is a problem, and global warming has an effect, and that's a big leading factor into it. But again, the Earth, the climate does fluctuate over the years, and perhaps maybe it's going to get the hottest right before we hit another ice age. Hell, I don't know.
Or a dark age.
Or a dark age, or both.
Dark age
maybe
is
just
quite
both.
preferable. I quite like a dark age, actually.
Well, isn't that like the main argument for why we shouldn't worry about global...
That is the main argument, actually. Unfortunately, I don't really believe it myself, but I'm more of a believer that, yeah, global warming is fucking us all over. And we're all going to be dead.
If global warming's fucking us over, would you rather live here, and this is just based on weather, would you rather live here, or would you rather move to someplace like, I don't know, Norway?
That's easy. I'd say Norway.
Just based on weather.
Just based on weather.
Uh-huh.
I've been to Norway.
Right.
Norway.
Norway.
I wouldn't mind Norway just because.
Well, they wouldn't notice, would they? They have the fjords.
Yeah.
And the odd parrot.
Yeah.
And,
that's right.
And anybody who's been
Norwegian
up
blue.
anyone who's been up the Skagerrak, let me tell you, if you've been up the Skagerrak, have you been up the Skagerrak?
I have not.
Have you been to Oslo?
I have been to Oslo.
Did you go to Oslo on a ship?
Yes.
Then you went up the Skagerrak.
Well, no.
The Skagerrak is the piece of water between Norway and Sweden.
Then yes.
Right.
Sure.
And you went up the Skagerrak in the evening? Late afternoon?
Yes, it would have been evening.
Yeah, late afternoon, early evening. It's a sight to behold,
because we woke up in Oslo, so...
Right, that's right,
What the fuck are you white people talking about?
It was on a ship.
Yeah, you were on a ship,
Skagerraks
probably
and
owned by Fred
Oslos
Olsen. Anyway,
this is our code.
yeah. But as you were going
Are you
up
making
Skagerrak,
America great
right,
again?
in the
Is that
evening
what's
before
going
it
on
got
right
dark, you could see a Viking longboat come out, couldn't you?
Yeah.
You didn't, because they
But
don't
I
bring them
could.
out. They don't bring them out at night.
I have no
funnily
problem
enough,
with that.
because they haven't got your lights. Because the Norsemen, they didn't know about that stuff, but they did have anyway. So what I'm getting at is, if you're in New York, right?
Mm-hmm. I would not move to New York.
No, and you're a Republican, and you say there's no such thing as global warming. And there's a fucking iceberg floating past Long Island, and it's 7 miles wide.
Well, that's definitely not warming.
Well, right. What's going on?
Mm-hmm.
What?
Well, even
why
here,
are people denying? Why is
even here in Kansas? Again, I don't see how people can sit there and deny global warming, because there are species of animals that we now see in Kansas almost year round that we never even used to see even
the
during the summer.
Ivanov, for instance,
like
an Ivanov.
Yeah, like an Ivanov, or like an armadillo.
Yeah.
Or there are now lizards that I see in my house in the summer that we never used to have lizards when I was a kid in Kansas, but now we do.
So
well, the thing about armadillos is they're crunchy on the outside and soft on the inside.
That's true.
I am so
Just like
disturbed
crab
right
rangoon.
now.
Exactement, mon brave. Exactement.
Armadillo Rangoon.
Yeah.
Mr. Taylor, or has there been a noticeable change in the weather patterns in your home country? Are winters getting shorter there?
We occasionally get snow.
Yes, but
and
did
when
you
we
used
do
to get
get
snow all the time?
no.
But you
I mean,
get, you
I
get
can
it more
remember.
frequently now.
Yeah, I can remember when I was 10.
You can't.
It snowed, right? And yeah, it snowed, and it was a real big deal.
In England?
Yeah, we'd never seen snow. I
It doesn't
don't
snow in England.
No, and
Yeah, it does.
and then we moved. So this would be late 60s or early 70s. There were rumours that it was going to snow at Christmas, and people were taking bets as to whether or not there would be snow on top of the weather centre. Right, that's on BBC. Sorry, we're just ordering drinks here on the podcast. We have a rum and ginger ale.
Jen, I'll take one too.
Why does it have to be a white Christmas?
I'll take
Why can't
one
it be
too,
a black Christmas?
No
Because
shit.
of the
yeah.
show.
I don't
Why-
get that, man.
Because of the anyway, and sure enough,
black
it
ice.
did actually
Yeah.
snow. It did.
Maybe
it did
that's
snow.
how we
and
make that
then
equal.
occasionally you get a bit of snow, flutters and things like that. And then once in the 80s, it snowed where I lived, and it suddenly came in and dumped a huge amount of snow.
Question:
on-
what is a huge amount of snow?
Oh, 2 feet.
Oh, okay.
Oh, that's
okay.
actually-
That is.
Yes,
that
and
is-
everything just stopped.
I was curious if like maybe
and
4
and
inches
so
was
the
huge.
next day, it
Oh,
was
we are also talking
hilarious.
about snow.
Because the next day, most of it had gone, right? And a friend of mine, lovely young lady she was, she decided she needed to do a report for the BBC, right? So she's out in the radio car, out in the middle of nowhere, and we were driving past, and there was Daphne. Her name was Daphne Skinnard. And Daphnis is doing this report microphone into the radio car and everything. There's no snow to be seen. And she says the wind's blowing and it's howling, and all this sort of thing. Bright sunny day, the sheep are looking at, what's going on and all that sort of stuff.
I'm a little
It'll
concerned
gone.
that sheep were the focal point. Of
Sheep were
Jeremy's
looking.
story.
Yeah. What's happening then? Is sort of like, what's going on then? What's that all about? What was that snow? Is that snow?
What's all this then?
What are we
what's
talking
that-
about, by the
Just-
way?
well,
Just snow?
The question
The
was,
weather.
Global
do you like
heating.
hot
And I'd like
weather
to
or
make
cold
an
weather?
announcement just so everybody knows. Ivo Ivanov,
Yes.
Dark Lord of Pheromones, is wearing a new baseball hat
Yes.
with a W
I
on
will say
it.
yes. I've never seen you in that hat.
I
Yes.
just
this
saw
is
the
a
back
new hat.
with the 3 W's. Who,
Is
what,
it?
why?
Yeah.
Is that for George W. Bush?
No, it just the mystery of it attracted me to it because nobody really knows what the W stands for. I think it stands for what the fuck is up with that W. It's
With
just-
the other
I
one.
couldn't resist. Yeah, and it says in the back.
And of course,
what,
being
where,
Bulgarian, you say W.
W. Yeah.
W.
Yeah, really cool. So we're talking about weather.
Yeah, what's happened to the weather?
Oh,
Is
So-
it
That's what-
is
that's-
it warmer or colder in the recent past in your home country?
Oh, no, just in my home country, it's warmer everywhere. We've had record warm years in the
Yep.
on Earth for like 14 consecutive years, each next one warmer. In the Arctic Circle, it was 30 Fahrenheit warmer this winter than usual. That's 20 degrees Celsius. This is insane. From minus 25, we're talking latitude 80 and over. It used to be minus 25, Jeremy. In this latitude, minus 25 Celsius. This year was minus 5.
What the fuck are you talking about? Why can't you do Fahrenheit, like 60 degrees, and then we know where we are?
Well, it
You're
was
doing it in
barely,
metric, aren't you?
Okay,
barely.
actually, it was 10 degrees Kelvin. Okay, is that
Yeah.
better?
Okay,
It
got
was
you.
barely below freezing. It was barely below freezing beyond the Arctic Circle. So we are dealing with serious changes in weather patterns. I was thinking recently about Venus. Which,
Williams?
Well, sure. I often think
So,
about
yeah,
Venus.
when am I not
Venus.
doing that?
Yeah, but no, Venus, the planet, should have exactly the same climate as us. It's in the Goldilocks zone. It's the closest planet to us.
Yeah, but it
it's
has
the
to
same
have an
size.
atmosphere.
Well, that's the big question. What happened to Venus? Because the atmosphere is almost entirely carbon dioxide.
Right.
Carbon dioxide, as you know, traps heat. So sunlight goes through and doesn't come back.
Right.
So we have temperatures that are about 500 degrees Celsius on Venus. So basically the temperature of an oven, of an industrial oven. And we have sulfur, huge concentrations of sulfur, and sulfuric acid is raining instead of rain. This is the hell that awaits us. Because this is the exact pattern that we're following.
So
we're
do you
slowly-
think that maybe Jeremy had a radio show on Venus, and that's why there's so much heat and carbon
I've
dioxide?
never been near the girl. Never been near her. Not in my life. It wasn't me.
I don't know.
You
but
weren't there. You can't have seen me.
Yeah, but you know, it's living hell. You know, we've sent probes on Venus, and the ones that actually survived and landed, which is almost impossible, going through sulfuric acid, you can imagine.
Right.
But they lasted only a couple hours, and they sent recording that would make your skin crawl. I mean,
Or melt it right off.
yeah, seriously. And also because of trapping so much carbon dioxide, the atmosphere got really, really thick. So if you're actually trying to move on the surface of Venus, it will be like moving on the bottom of an ocean of a chicken broth. You know, it's a total nightmare. And this is
But the
I'm afraid-
probing of Venus would have been quite fun.
But see, yeah, probably. But I'm thinking.
Don't know what her sister has to say about it. But
Thinking about what happened to Venus.
So
Is
I got a
probably they
question
had
or a suggestion.
Earth-like atmosphere, and then they elected somebody like Donald Trump. You know?
See, realistically, I would imagine that it would actually be the reverse. That we had Venus's atmosphere, but it's got something to do with like the mega plants that used to grow, converting the carbon dioxide to oxygen.
Oh, think
I
it's
have
the
been
reverse.
fascinated
that
to
is
see.
actually, there is some truth behind that, actually.
I've been fascinated to see that in China, an architect has come up with a way that their smog in China is diabolical.
There's smog in China.
Yeah,
Shocking.
and it is really bad news. And so what they decided to do is they're going to build some skyscrapers that are currently being in the process of having their footings put in and everything. So it's actually going to happen, where they will be growing enough greenery off the side of these things to develop a huge amount of carbon dioxide.
No, they're using those they're using those buildings as air filters.
Yes,
basically the leaves capture the smog particles and literally just filter the air like
they
a
scrub it.
giant-ass
And what's
HEPA
it
filter.
producing? Because it was
Well,
they were saying they reckoned it was
oxygen. All
a
plants produce
billion
oxygen.
tons of oxygen
Yeah.
a year
It's
or
not
a
gonna
week
change
or
a damn
something.
thing.
Maybe not.
No,
Why not?
Because we produce carbon dioxide. We breathe oxygen and produce carbon. There's 7 billion of us. We're destroying forestation.
Not to
We're
mention they're going to be
deforestation.
buying more cars and do.
Yeah.
And, I mean,
That's
it's not
ultimately
like
the
we would
problem.
basically have to stop and then put in these buildings.
I can just
then you
remember
would
that
see
you
the-
asked me about that. I can just about remember the smog in London in the late 50s.
1550s.
Yeah. Particularly, in the winter, going up at Christmas or something to see a show, whatever. We lived about an hour out of London. And you go up on these huge, great big steam trains, and everybody burnt coal. And it was only until you got smokeless, right, and the government, you couldn't burn the ordinary coal straight out of the coal mine. You could out in the country, but you couldn't in the cities. And you had smokeless fuels. I remember it was smokeless, the adverts and everything. And so until the government said, you are not doing this anymore, you will not, till it became law and you couldn't do it, that it didn't go away.
Hold on, I want to go back to your comment there, Mr. Durden. You said it's that this giant ass air filter that China's making is not going to do a damn thing.
Look at this shit.
You don't think that there's the possibility that they could produce, because it's literally supposed to be like a building, like a 25-story building or something
Not
like
gonna
that.
do shit.
But you don't think like they could build that in mass enough to clean the air?
No.
Like even with the
No,
They got covered the
people
entire
people are still going to drive. They're still going to keep buying cars. It's still going to be crowded as hell, and not just in China, all over the globe. No. And just because you build one building in China,
No.
maybe,
See, that's what
maybe
I'm saying.
maybe I build like a little farm of these buildings in China. Not gonna do shit.
See, I
You
don't
would
know.
have to build
Maybe
these-
I'm much
you would
more
have to build
optimistic.
farms. You'd have to have like farms
Get
of
this.
these buildings
I just
everywhere.
said I'm the more optimistic one on the
That is
panel.
shocking, actually. Yeah.
I love that expression. Not gonna do shit.
But it is
not
fair
gonna
to
do
say that we
shit.
haven't had a heavy
There's
duty
no better
a
expression.
heavy
Love it.
duty winter.
Right to the point.
I mean, I always think of Christmas being right in the middle of winter.
Yeah.
We haven't had a heavy duty Christmas for quite a while.
We as in
Well, I haven't had to get the backhoe out and
Oh, okay.
and
Here in
scrub
Kansas.
the
no.
driveway.
No, we haven't
Yeah.
had one. for
Yeah,
quite,
it's
been a while.
Quite a few years.
this last serious snowstorm I was party to was in '94 in Pennsylvania. We got like 108 inches of snow one month.
Whoa.
Yeah,
Jesus.
yeah, it was insane. Literally like 10-foot snow.
That is
banks.
going to do shit.
Yeah.
That's
And we were talking about Norway earlier. Do you know what the Norwegians do when it snows?
Fuck.
One of the first things they do, they have sex, and then they eat off their smorgasbord, which is really cool. Long table, and
Yeah.
you get the food, the potatoes. How they cook those potatoes, I don't know. But anyway, if you go to Norway in the summer, what you will see are little structures about the size of a garage.
yeah.
Right, a little bit
That's a
bigger, but
garage
about the
for
size
the
of
Americans.
a garage, right?
Yeah.
And so when it snows, right, the snow fills up the side, and then over the top, then you've got a garage, an ice garage for your car.
That's not gonna do shit.
Yes.
Are you kidding me? They have ice
They really
garage.
do, ice garage.
Oh.
So
you know,
wait.
nobody
so
has
why do
pointed
you
out.
have this ice garage? Why do you even have
Wait, do
this?
you get them?
Like
Because
what?
you don't
What
want to leave
fucking
your
purpose
car
does this
outside in the
serve?
snow, do you? I mean, don't be silly.
Ice garage. Ice
All right.
garage. Great
Okay.
name for a rock band. Ice garage.
Hold on,
Give it
guys.
up. Put your hands together for Ice Garage.
They're gonna sing their hit, not gonna do shit.
Yeah,
Wait
they
a
won't
minute.
do shit.
Yes,
There
sir.
are no women on the panel tonight. Watch this. Booby.
You can say whatever you
Wobbly
want.
bits. Poop.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Wobbly bits.
Perfect. We can say
All right,
whatever
I got
we
that out of
want.
my system. All right.
All right, so let's move on.
I can
then.
already tell the level of cursing has already increased because there
Yeah.
are no women here.
Are you prepared, panel, for civil unrest, rioting, or major disaster event? What we're talking about here is Donald Trump, for example, is a polarizing president, polarizing weather event it might be.
Yeah.
A big event, another Katrina hitting the country in the wrong place in its midsection when it's not expecting it. Do you have supplies, and do you have a plan?
In other
Yeah.
words, are we survivalists?
Well,
no,
like
no,
5
no,
years
no.
ago.
The
Hold
question, no. That is not the question. The question is, do you have a plan, and do you have any supplies?
Okay.
It's not about being survivalists are taking it to the far end of the spectrum.
Yes, I agree. You gotta have some basic preparation for a crisis event. I agree, and you have to have at least some skills developed if you're over 20. To
I can make a Cat 5 cable inside 30 seconds.
a what?
A Category 5 network cable.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm not sure if it's gonna. That's not gonna do shit because you're not gonna have electricity. You're not gonna have. You're not
I
gonna
say
have
he's right.
internet.
That's not gonna do shit.
Well, I mean, honestly, Dr. Orlando, you're a lovely chap, but if we've got a major event going, I want your wife, because she's intelligent and useful, and the kids we can sell. So, you
Yeah.
know.
No.
So I'm just
Money,
kinda
money
shit out of
doesn't
luck.
matter anymore. We can barter. We can
Well, yeah,
barter.
but I mean, we might be able to swap
No,
a couple of kids for a
but
horse.
no, the kids and the wife are important in case it's cold outside and you need
Someone to go outside
human
and work.
warmth, no, and body heat. You basically cover yourself with your
True.
kids and wife. So you need to know how to make fire.
Right.
And I've tried with the stupid 2 sticks. That will never work.
I think it's got to be the right 2 sticks. Is the
I
yeah.
know, but good God, I have done it with the glass, magnifying.
Oh,
it.
magnifying.
Yeah, so that works
Magnifying
much better.
it. Yes, very easy to start fire that
It
way.
is.
It takes a little time and the right angle, but you can do it. So you gotta be able to start fire. You need some clothes, warm clothes to have.
But you don't know that. Maybe it's some kind of catastrophe where all of a sudden
the heat.
the heat just boom.
Yeah.
And you need no clothes.
You know what you need though? You definitely gonna need is one of those mobile water filters.
Yes.
Filter units where you can or iodine tablets.
I need a still suit. That's what I need. If I could just
yeah.
get a still suit,
But do you
from Dune,
guys
I'd be perfect.
do you guys know, for instance, how to, assuming you've got fire,
Yeah.
Yeah.
would you know how, if you've got fire and you manage to get near a kitchen, right? The people
Yeah.
may not. Would you be able to purify the water without pills? Now we're not talking about
Yeah,
radioactivity,
absolutely.
but
All you need is fire, and you can do that. If you
no. Boiling water doesn't work. What
Yeah,
do
it
you
does.
do? No, it doesn't.
It doesn't kill all. It
It
doesn't,
doesn't kill everything.
Yeah.
Do you know how to
them
extract because if you've got stuff in there, the steam is the important thing. You get silver foil, aluminium wrap, or whatever you call it here.
Aluminum foil.
Make a little hat and pour it down to something that you know is good, and you keep the steam. You don't play with the water.
Yeah.
In a pinch, I think it's a drop of bleach in a gallon of water will keep most things from killing you.
All right.
But what Mr. Taylor just described is like the Boy Scouts.
You know what? Everybody got to die sometimes. So.
Yeah.
You need
Yeah.
to. I think you need to take care of several variables in case of a catastrophe or post-apocalyptic event. First is the elements. You have to be prepared for the elements, and most importantly, you have to be prepared for the human element because humans.
There you go. They will
If
panic.
I
humans
tell you
will
what,
kick
if
your
elephants escape, you're in trouble in America.
ass.
I'm not real worried about that.
Did
Yeah.
you say elephants?
No, I didn't.
Human
Humans.
element.
Human elements.
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 Yes.
I thought you said elephants. I'm sorry.
Oh, elephants
Carry on.
too, but human element.
Not elephants.
No, I will lie if I say that I haven't thought about it, although it sounds kind of geeky. But I thought about one of the most important things in this case would be antibiotics. You and your family will be wiped out by a very simple infection. And you will need to have antibiotics. Antibiotics will be hard to come to obtain in this case because the first thing that's going to get wiped out is the drugstores.
Right.
People that have arms will go in and loot all the drugstores. A good place to go is obviously hospitals. You can find antibiotics in hospitals, but those will be second. People will raid hospitals. You know what has antibiotics? Surprisingly, airplanes. Airplanes have antibiotics. So if you can make it into an airplane, you can get antibiotics at the airport.
Actually, there's a lot of first aid kits that you find just in
Yes.
in just like businesses.
Yes.
They just have a first aid kit in their kitchen, like here.
Yes.
That
Here?
a lot of them now. Okay, they don't have a first aid kit
Yeah.
here. They got.
Yeah.
But you find yeah, that's true. That's valid. But you'll find a lot of first aid kits. They actually have a little bit of antibiotics now. They
And,
didn't used to.
What
but
do
they
you
do
mean
now.
by? Do you mean Neosporin, or do you mean?
No, like
No,
it's some
no.
actual like true antibiotics, like amoxicillin or something.
Antibiotics. You also athletic clubs. One of the last places that people would go in case of crisis,
True.
but they have defibrillators,
Yep.
which can be very valuable. You gotta grab one of those.
Schools have them now too.
Yep.
Schools have them.
Yep.
I'll tell you another place where you can go, which people don't think of, and that's veterinaries.
Like that. True.
Yeah. Also, like Kansas City, for example, we live in the middle of the United States. It has the biggest
I go to
train.
retirement communities.
Yeah.
And get antibiotics.
Yeah. Train depot, biggest train depot is in Kansas City, and they have a lot of cargo. If you can make it into a boxcar, you can get out with a lot of stuff. You need a weapon. You will
Yes.
definitely need a gun, and not just for protecting yourselves from the human element, but also for hunting. Also, I have an
You need to
advantage
be. Yeah. Okay. Go ahead.
because I know how to trap small animals because of freaking squirrels that I've been fighting for 20 years. So I'm really good at trapping animals. And that will be a major skill, because most likely you will have to get out of the city and go to a secluded area if you want you and your family to be safe. And then trapping is going to become very important.
Ivo, do you camp?
I hate camping, but yeah, I could. Sleeping bags are
No,
important too.
yeah, that's actually what I was thinking. Like, we're kind of tossing around like the theoretical what you would need in these situations. I'm wondering though if the question isn't should we be putting together, and well, I also wanted to push back on the notion that survivalists take it to the extreme. I guess my question is are the survivalists doing the right thing? And then outside of that, even if they aren't doing the right thing, shouldn't we have a little go-to kit
Yes.
that we can
The emergency
Start putting
Douglas
together.
County
you can buy, like you can
Douglas-
go to Cabela's or something like that
Yeah.
and buy
Douglas County Emergency
survival.
Management will
Yeah.
advise you on a regular basis. I do it on the show on the radio station here about having your go bag.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I always think it's funny, these survivalists.
Just like you're supposed to have a survival kit in your car.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
I always think it's funny about the survivalists because one has a generator. I have a generator. So the first thing that's going to happen is the boss of the local National Guard is going to say, right, I need to keep certain things running, hospitals and various other things, and I need all the generators. So he's going to send a couple of Humvees out to go find generators. How will they find generators? They'll go and stand on top of a Humvee,
And
turn
listen.
everything off and listen. And they'll hear dug, 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 dug. Well, those generators will go. Then the first idiots that turn a light on, then those generators go. So you're going to keep your generators. So a Humvee comes trundling up your driveway, right? What are you going to do? You may have a high-powered rifle, but you take out the front tires of a Humvee and then you've got a machine gun looking at you, right? Because those guys are going to be scared and frightened and really want to be at home with their kids. It seems to me that what you've got to do if you want to survive is to go up a hill somewhere with a gang of your friends, and we joked earlier on about your Cat 2 cable or what have you, but each of your friends, Evo
Has
is
a
a person
specialty.
I would want, not because he can trap, because he knows how to strip a weapon quickly.
That's true.
And probably could keep me alive. He wouldn't want to.
He's
but it
fun
would
to
come,
cuddle with, too.
But it would come back to him quite quickly.
Yeah.
My wife would be a complete waste of space,
Do you?
right?
Do you?
You know, what would she do? You know.
So wait,
Do you
wait,
have
you're
a-
telling me that she's not going to do shit?
No, but yeah, what I'm saying is, you think about where you work with kids,
Yeah.
right? You think of a class. Just take any class,
Yeah.
right? And you have a class of what, 15, 20 kids? How many kids, roughly, very roughly?
About 25.
Let's call it 20. 20, right?
Fine, 20.
Didn't you just say
Out of-
25?
Yeah, I
Where
did
the
say-
fuck did this 20 come
'cause
from?
you-
No,
he
because
fucked with me
apparently
over the
I
Norway
gave him a
thing.
number, but he already had the number picked out for me.
All right, so 25, right? Okay.
As you wish,
How
sir.
many of those kids would, when you say, sorry, your parents' house no longer exists, would go, oh, right, and they want to look at their cell phone? And how many of them would actually try and do something? There's
If
probably
they've been
5.
listening to me throughout the year, not many of them, because they know. They already know. They're going to come work for me,
Right,
and I'm going to help them, and they're going to survive.
yeah. And the pretty ones, you're
No,
going to sell them.
We're not really. Okay, fine. If you got your wallet, then yeah.
Do you have a gun?
Yes.
Okay. That's good. That's
Into
important. Yeah.
when the floor lifts up. That's-
No. I'm just wondering if you
Oh,
actually.
for real?
have a-
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Good.
I have a small
Okay,
pistol,
that's
a
important.
shotgun, and a
That's important. Otherwise, your generator will become the generator of all of any of our listeners
Well,
who have a gun.
that's
But
right. But do you have any water? Go around the room.
yes,
No.
No.
need a kind of
Engineers?
10
Yes.
gallons of water.
You do.
Dried food,
lots of dried
powdered
food.
milk,
No.
canned
None of that.
food, crank, flashlight.
Well, I thought you were going somewhere else. I thought you were just going to
No.
stop at crank. I'm like, dude, I don't need any heroin, man. I think we're good.
No, crank,
do-
flashlight,
do-
or a radio.
Go around the room again. Do you have a bath? A bath.
A bath?
Yes.
Bathtub.
Bathtub. Do you have a bathtub?
Yeah.
Right. Engineers? Yes.
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 Yes. Right. You have cling film, or what I call plastic wrap. We call it cling film in England, right?
Yeah.
The moment you hear something on CNN while the TVs are still working and there's been an event, you put a piece of plastic wrap around the plug of your bath and you stuff the plug in the bath, right? So that plug is never coming out again.
Yeah.
And then running hot water, you run it straight into the bath. You fill the bath and then you put cling film over the top of the bath.
To preserve it.
That will preserve you enough water to keep you going for a couple of weeks.
All right.
Right? Little things like that help.
Yeah, that's very smart. That's a smart move.
You pee outside. Everybody pees outside.
Speaking of CNN, do you know they actually had a farewell message recorded? Have you seen it? In the 80s, in case of nuclear...
I did know that, actually.
Yeah,
Yep,
nuclear
I did.
holocaust, to air it just before all communication is cut. It would be like a farewell.
They said just, hey, kiss your ass goodbye.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Come join us.
Ted Turner was convinced that that's
Just
going to
come sit.
happen.
Yep.
So I think he recorded it, but that's interesting. Yeah, that's good. Crank radio and flashlight would be good. Binoculars would be good. Anything that can quickly help you start fire.
A flint. That'd be good.
Yeah, would be important. And we mentioned iodine tablets, filter, water filter, mobile water filter would be good, and weapon, obviously.
And
So
alcohol.
getting back to my
gonna say, what about the booze?
question though,
Yeah.
The
like
what?
the,
The booze.
doomsday
Booze.
Conroy has
Yeah.
joined us.
Hello, everybody.
Antibiotics.
Well,
Antibiotics.
he's well behaved today, isn't he?
Yeah, yeah.
Hello, everybody.
He's a
Hello.
survivalist.
Are you a
Yeah.
survivalist?
Oh yeah. He was
like, what is
underground at Y2K when year 2000 was coming.
He runs a bar. Of course, he's a survivalist.
Do you keep supplies in case of a disaster?
No.
Okay.
I do not. However, I do have customers that do that, and it gets pretty like they have drills where the
Well, you
kids
have to.
teaching them how to like hop the cars, like to get them started.
Uh-huh.
And there are locations across the country into Canada
Right.
where they take money, survivalist camp things. So they sent like $50 a month, so that if something were to happen, they have a place to go. And so
Yeah.
it's like real.
We
and then-
kind of started this topic of conversation with the panel here saying that survivalists take it to the extreme. I'm not sure that that's accurate. I
Necessarily
think
true.
Well, I think it is because at the end of the day, not many of these survivalists have ever been in a situation where someone's shooting at them, and
Valid.
a lot of people will, if
That's why
for
you're part of
instance,
the club. Like you're coming with us.
you're with your wives and kids,
Uh-huh.
right? And someone takes a pot shot at a National Guard guy, so they decide to shoot back. There's going to be women and children running all over the place.
Right.
There's very few people who would have the gumption to stand still and fire back.
right.
And you ever heard of a book called Lucifer's Hammer? It was
Yes.
about when a comet, I believe, or an asteroid hit the world, and like everything under the sea was above, and the dry land was all water and all that kind of stuff. And it was a pretty good anthropological or sociological. I mean, you almost have to join into tribes, and,
Right.
and like,
Oh, yeah, very much so.
and maybe these redneck guys with the rifles. You and your family better follow them because they're
Better
tougher.
join
You would definitely
the
see us
interesting
become
thing
a
I think
tribal
about
society.
Evo and I, you see, between us, we've probably got enough. We're cleverer than the rednecks. So the thing is, if you've got what we want, we're going to come and take it from you.
Well, I don't know. I mean, you have a good point, though, that the rednecks probably will survive us because, I mean, my knowledge of dust bug Zarathustra is not going to probably help me.
Yeah, somebody's got to make moonshine.
It's
man.
not going to do shit.
Let's move on to another subject here. Ding tells us we've got to change subjects here on Wednesday Night Undressed. Collections. The other day, someone near to me was mocking my tool collection as I fixed his car. So I have collected tools since my first job back in the 70s.
Exactly.
While-
If someone is really near to you, dear to you, why are they making fun of your collection?
My dear love collects material. She calls it her stash for her
She
quilting.
collects material?
Yeah, her quilt
Yeah,
stash.
my ex-wife collected materials.
Our producer Eric collects rare Nintendo games, right? What do you collect? What do you have a secret thing that you that you have? I mean, I know, didn't you used to, Dr. Orlando, didn't you used to have magazines?
Yeah, Penthouse from 1977. Every issue.
I used to collect comics. I don't anymore. It was a very sad and tragic fate that befell my comics. And I guess right now I collect porn links on the web.
Yeah.
But that's just in a file somewhere.
Porn,
No.
Paris porn.
Man.
No, I don't think.
Pornhub,
I'm not
people
sure
like
that I
that.
actually have. Well, okay. There's two things that I collect that I don't actively collect, but I accumulate. They are mugs, coffee mugs, because my kids buy coffee mugs for me for pretty much every holiday. So I started with maybe one.
You're basically
and now
forming
I
a
have-
collection.
I have a collection
Yeah.
of mugs now, and I would say the same thing with the little puffy head dolls. I can't think of what they're called.
Trolls.
The
Trolls.
No, the
Trolls.
Pop'ems. I think they're called. They're like
Oh yeah, the pop-ups are.
they don't actually pop up.
They
They're-
don't, but I know what you're talking about.
Bobbleheads.
Basically,
Are
they're
they
not
bobbleheads?
bobbleheads because
No,
they're
they're not.
soft.
Yeah.
But they're basically the same idea. They are these cloth dolls with giant heads.
Yeah.
And so if you go into any toy store or any like hobby store,
You
any
collect
bookstore,
this?
again,
I'm worried
my-
about
Well,
Good
my
God.
The things we're learning.
yeah, no. My kid, again, I have probably 10 of them right now because the two things that my kids buy for me every holiday. or
Conroy,
every
do you have
gift-giving day.
anything that you're very fond of that you
Yeah, I don't
that you
collect, but I
You collect
I
bikes.
hate to be without. Well, bicycles I could buy forever. Running shoes.
So how many bicycles do you have?
Running shoes.
4. That's all.
Wait, you have 4 bicycles
Yeah,
just for
touring
you.
bike, a road bike,
Okay.
and you got to have a cross training bike.
Oh, you
No,
got
you
it.
don't have.
And then you have to have a.
Yeah, it doesn't
then,
gonna do
then you have to have a
shit.
mountain
It's not
bike.
going to do shit.
You can't-
no,
not-
no.
But
That's
the other
the
thing,
phrase for tonight.
I love
Not gonna do
notebooks. I love
What?
blank paper. I love.
You like blank paper?
I love it.
Do
I
you
just
do
'cause
anything
there's
with it?
always something.
He
Yeah.
loves going to the
I
lavatory
write
with a piece of blank paper.
Trivia questions. I try to write a song. I try to write a story.
There's
You draw
it's
pornographic
iPads
pictures.
and
And what?
You draw pornographic pictures.
No. Well,
Look how nervous he's getting. Yeah.
Not since
Not
last
much.
week.
you know.
Not since his wife caught him.
I used to collect crap, but I don't anymore. And you know why? The digital age has convinced me how transient material things are. Because I used to collect DVDs, movies,
Yes.
VHS tapes, movies, and I had so many of them, and the collections, you know, the special editions with the extras and all that stuff. And then it just got wiped out in a matter of like 5 or 6 years. That was completely worthless. And you could go into the store and they would be selling this for 25 cents.
Right.
You know, because everything became, you know, turned into the cloud.
When
Yeah,
my
you get online.
Yeah.
when my ex
So-
and I split up, one of the bigger fights that we had was who was going to get all of the CDs that we had, because we had like 1,000, 1,500 music CDs. I basically, and this was before the cloud existed, I basically spent a summer recording them all to
brutal.
disc and just gave them all to her. And I have never regretted it. I have every CD that we ever owned together in digital format.
Well, just taking aside, and we'll come to Tyler in just a moment for his collection. But aside out on the divorce advice that we like to give every week here on Wednesday Night Undressed is give her everything.
Fuck yeah.
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 Especially the
Give
blank
her-
paper.
Give her
a lot of blank paper.
Blank paper. Everything in
Because
the
in the
house.
long run, doesn't mean shit.
Yeah.
It
Ain't gonna
don't
do
mean
shit.
Doesn't mean
no,
shit.
no.
Yeah.
Tyler,
Yeah.
what do you like to collect? Do you have a little collection of things at
Well,
home
actually, one
that
of
you
the things
show
that
your
I like
girlfriends
to
and things like that?
One of the things that bonded myself and Dr. Orlando when I first met him was actually comic books. I do still
And
have a
porn.
and porn, or kind of both.
Both, yeah.
Yeah,
Manga
but I
or
do have a
hentai?
comic book collection, and that is something that I do actively collect and pursue, and I've invested some money in it. And yeah, but I do still have it.
But a
Yeah.
lot of that gains value, right?
does
As
gain value, yeah.
So
Unless
it
you let
doesn't
it-
depreciate much.
Flood.
What's the manga porn thingy called?
Manga or hentai.
Hentai.
Hentai, the Japanese
Where the arm
comic.
turns into a you know what?
Yeah. I used to
You can say
collect.
penis.
You know what I used to collect? I used to collect
Tears from
mint.
children?
No, the boxes for mints. Remember that?
I remember because I gave you like
Yeah.
20 of them once
There's
for like
so
a birthday.
you have no idea how many amazing different ones in every imaginable shape. You know the tints. The
Breath mints. We're talking about breath mints. The breath mint
Yeah.
tins.
So you mean like
Yeah.
the tins of like Altoids and those
Yeah,
kind of
but they
tins.
come in incredible different.
Oh, I've got a couple of those. You want them? Well,
No,
next time
I
you go to my
no.
shed.
Long ago, I quit this crap.
Hey, speaking
Yeah,
of which, where's my jacket, buddy?
Eh?
Where's that jacket you were going to get me, man?
What jacket?
You were going to get me like an actual.
Oh,
like,
I have to find that.
All
I
right.
forgot about that. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll get that. Okay, are electric cars really any better? Without better grid,
No.
electric is too expensive, too environmentally unsafe. The batteries are a waste of space. They blow up, catch fire, and there's very few places except Hy-Vees. I think it's Hy-Vees. Yes, it is Hy-Vees, where you can charge one unless you charge it at home. So if you buy one, then you've got to take a charging station and plug it into your house.
I've heard this argument, and I don't know because I refuse to do research, that the cost of running an electric car is actually higher than gas cars, and that the effect on the environment may be smaller, but the
Maybe.
yeah,
But
and
that's
it's
not for
minuscule
sure.
smaller.
Yeah,
and,
Because
and again,
the
they're not for
lithium
sure.
batteries don't, man, they're so toxic. The batteries
Exactly.
are toxic. Disposing them is a nightmare.
Not to mention you're burning all that coal to get the electricity to
electricity.
actually feed your car.
yeah.
So it's a kind of a loop, kind of a toxic loop.
Yeah, but isn't there something to be said for pushing electric cars in the hopes of making a better grid, making a better battery, a less toxic battery?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
You could argue that maybe there's hope that we're moving in the right direction, but there are people, I would say a majority of people, who they assume that the electric cars are kind of the solution.
right.
But not at all. They're just the first step to maybe finding a solution.
And isn't it amazing when they lower the gas prices, how everybody stops talking about
Just,
it?
yeah,
weird.
completely
Shocking
goes
how that
away.
happened.
No investment
Yeah.
into the alternative.
In the second mandate of Bush, when the prices of gas hit like $4 or $5 a gallon, everybody was abandoning their SUVs and vans, and
Yep.
everybody was buying small cars, looking for electric cars. Now that the gas is $2, nobody cares. You know, the Nissan Leaf has 0 emissions. It's a full electric car. It goes for about 70 miles per charge, which, like for me, it's okay because I have a commute that's about 50 miles a day. You know, but the power is not there. I think they go like up to 70 miles per hour at best, and then you can't take. They don't have like all-terrain style, you know, like the Land Rover that you can drive into a rough terrain, you know, and you can throw anything at it and it'll take it. So they're limited. Obviously, the range is a problem. Disposal of the lithium battery, and then again, lithium is a finite resource.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Lithium is extremely valuable also as a medicine, you know, and there's just limited deposits. So just like oil. So there's a lot of cons.
Well, you don't have a car, Tom, do you? Because you use a bicycle.
No, I have cars too. Yes, because I have to carry a lot of stuff for the restaurant and things.
But I will say, I applaud you in the fact that you have a bicycle, because
Oh, yeah.
I find myself biking wherever I can as much as I can.
You know, this takes me back to your, interestingly enough, this takes me back to your survivalist question that in case of a post-apocalyptic society, actually things like bicycles will be valuable because of the noise factor of a vehicle. And even if you have an all-terrain vehicle, would be important, you know, but if you have a horse, or if you know how to ride a horse, or if you have a good bicycle, that will be valuable because you will be able to move around relatively unnoticed, or at least
Without alerting
inaudible,
everybody
without
around
warning
you.
everybody that you're coming. You know, and that's going to be important in case of, you know, dangerous.
One thing about the electrical thing we were talking about, we have an electric lawnmower with batteries. And there is just something refreshing about it. Like if you're pushing an electric lawnmower around, you don't get the sound. It doesn't, when you're done with the when you're done with the grass, you feel great. There's no smoky anything. There's no vibration in your ears and everything. And so we argue about who mows the grass all the time.
It's
But I know it's
wimpy,
not
though.
a car.
It's wimpy. It's not going to do
It
shit.
can be wimpy.
Electric more.
Look at the monster I've created.
I mean, if we have an apocalypse, not being able to cut the grass is something that's going to upset me. I tell you.
All right.
Tell you that right
Can
now.
you imagine, though, how cool that would be? Like, people are killing each other in the neighborhood. Like, there's bullets flying around, and you're mowing your lawn.
Oh, yeah.
Wouldn't that be awesome?
I was just taking a sidebar
Yeah.
for electric power.
No, no,
Dr.
you're right.
Orlando, you got very upset during the week with what happened, at the weekend, with what happened at the Oscars, particularly with a busload of trippers.
this was
Don't you
very
you do realize that was
disconcerting.
all set up, don't you?
Well, I
They
realized
weren't
that
actually trippers.
They weren't actually what?
They weren't trippers. They weren't trippers.
No. I
What is
think
a
they were
tripper?
unaware.
Tripper.
Did you see it?
It's
Oh,
not
yeah.
a stripper.
I
They
saw it.
didn't drop
I
acid.
think
I don't
was
know
a
how they
legitimate
were.
stunt.
How were they unaware? I mean, I believe they were
think he
unaware.
was trying to
but
use
Where
tourists.
did they think they were going?
They thought they were going to. They said.
They said a
Jimmy Kimmel's-
museum.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
museum.
They thought they were going to see an exhibit in the
I
museum.
thought that was a fabulous thing. I thought
was a
it
good
I
stunt.
thought it was a good stunt.
Yeah.
Like we were, Evo and I were at a friend's party watching it, and there were people in the room that were saying that was cruel to do to the people that were there. I didn't necessarily feel like that. I felt like I would be pleasantly surprised if I got to walk into a room and
Oh, it'd have
there's-
been one of the
Yeah.
moments I would never forget if they
But-
pulled that and I was.
But what was
This is Denzel
disturbing-
Washington. This is Meryl Streep.
What was
Say hello.
so absolutely disturbing, for me, way more disturbing than the end of the Oscars, is that these people walked in and didn't interact because they were so busy filming it
Yeah.
on their
Yep.
phone.
Yeah.
Yep.
In fact, Adam
That is our
Carolla.
society today.
Yeah. In fact, Adam Carolla, who wrote the jokes for Jimmy Kimmel, was there, and today I was listening to him talking about it, and he said it was really, really, he panicked when he saw the people coming in the theater with their phones recording. He panicked and he said that's going to ruin the entire thing. And he was begging, please put your phones away, please put your phones away. You're going to ruin the entire thing. Everything that Jimmy Kimmel had prepared in terms of reactions, how they're going to interact with the, he was afraid that it's all going to tank because they didn't care about actually experiencing this and interacting. All they care was about recording it so they can show it later on Facebook and on Instagram.
And it was going to be on TV anyway. They
Yeah.
could have always
Yeah.
gotten a copy.
This is why this is why I thought Jimmy Kimmel did such a
He saved
fantastic
it,
job,
yeah.
because you could tell that they were expecting the audience, the people that were coming in, to do something.
To be amazed, yeah.
Yeah, to be amazed or flabbergasted or just standing there dumbfounded.
Yeah.
But they were standing there completely outside the situation
Yep.
because they were filming. And so Jimmy Kimmel just kind of started like talking to the people, getting them to interact, which I thought was absolute genius and could not have possibly been scripted, because you didn't expect people to be that sheep-like, I guess.
Yeah, no.
Everybody thinks they are special. They film that shit, then they go put it on their Facebook
I
and say,
guess
"Look what
so.
I did. Look who I was. Look who I saw."
So social
'Cause
media
I'm special.
has displaced our actual personalities. They've taken over. Those smartphones, smart devices have taken over and have consumed our personalities.
They are, and it's, I'm sure you guys talked about this 100 times, but I talked to a professor once, and it's true. I asked her, does it make us less communicative or more communicative? And it's both.
Yeah.
We're less, but we're more because we really do communicate more. However, we don't have the spatial thing. When I run, when I ride my bike, people look the other, they cannot interact. You can't talk. They look at you like you're weird.
Especially
when you
younger
say hi.
people.
Yeah,
people.
That's okay. So one of the things that just amuses me for no apparent reason is that white people can't avoid but look at me. So like I live in Overland Park, which is like 90% white, and so wherever I go, I stick out. So wherever I go, people look like,
Why?
what the fuck is he doing here? And so
Why do you stick out?
all over.
No, it's
No,
really
actually,
a weird
it's
All
very
over.
true.
All
It's very
over
true.
the
I
place. So-
grew up in Overland Park. It's very true.
So I literally, maybe a couple years ago, just decided to start saying hi to people, like as I'm walking down the street or passing by them or in the grocery store. You are absolutely right. They do not know how to deal with it.
They don't know how to do it. They think you're up to something.
Yeah.
And it used to be not that way. Now, when I rode my bike across the country, when you went into small towns and said hi, everybody's talking. I mean,
Right.
it's just like this. It's a population thing. Every small town came up to you. What are you doing? You're from Kansas. That's like 1,000
You ain't
miles
from
away.
here, boy.
That's right.
It was never like that. Black town, white town, there was this. Once we hit like Pensacola, which was the first big town, it's just like Lawrence, because Lawrence has 100,000 people now. It's a population thing. You can't say hi to every single person you pass when you got a really busy town. And so it's really affected us.
Look up the term monkey sphere.
Monkey sphere.
Yeah, it talks about like how people have a terminal number, a maximum number of people that they can be concerned with,
Right.
and that we violate that number by living in cities all the time.
Well, your brain hurts, you know. Like,
Yeah.
So, but in small towns, it's not that way. Hey, are you all right? Or, you know,
Yeah.
they'll come right up to you and talk to you. Black or white, it was just wonderful.
And
But not the Irish.
Somebody
But not the Irish.
Somebody had calculated the maximum amount of friends you can have, and after this number, it kind of you can't really relate to people on the same level.
They've also calculated like our brain. That's why we can't fathom the universe, because our brain can't possibly do whatever it is to understand it.
can only
It's
think
too
in
big.
3 dimensions. Yeah.
Or something. So,
You've been listening to Wednesday Night Undressed, the podcast that reaches parts of your body that other podcasts don't penetrate.
This is the weirdest outro and the creepiest outro I've ever heard.
Dude, I
This is really gave me the
kind
creeps.
of want to leave now.
I want to thank our panel, who will not be here again. Dr. Orlando, Ivo Ivanov, Tyler Durden.
Doesn't mean shit.
Yeah, don't mean shit. And of course, Conroy, who runs one of the coolest bars in the country,
Thank you.
for allowing us to do this despite the used steak fries. It's very decent of you to let us do this every week
Agreed.
after week
This is fabulous. You
after
guys.
week
Just love all you guys.
after fucking week. So thank you for listening, folks. We'll be back next week. Yay.